I've been sort of just getting caught up on recording wrestling and whatnot, and during that time, I've been listening to Jeff Waldorf on the midterm elections. I've been listening to Jank Ugo. Actually, I've only listened to like one thing from each, just to be honest. And the Jank went over quite a few things. We went over a few things on why there was no blue wave, and media advertising is one. He did a great job in reporting on it, but I think that's the problem with TYT and these other places. They just report. You can't just report. You have to advocate. You have to speak on behalf of. You have to push. That's what you got to do. And that's not what they did. That's not what happened. They just reported on the news. They reported on the pollings. They reported. They said it's going to be a blue wave. It's going to be a tsunami. Oh, get ready for it. All this hype and all this other stuff. And talk about everyone has to have the energy. It must be energetic, everyone's got to be pumped. So, just think about somebody on meth all hyped up and ready to go do something. They got to maintain that level even when the meth wears off for 2 years. Even if they get exactly what they want, they got to hold it for 2 years. And so, no, see, your heart would have burst a long time ago. And so I'm just listening, and I'm like, it makes sense what he said. Look, the free advertising and whatnot. That's in a nutshell what he said was Republicans are always in the news. They're on the news. They're in the papers. Everyone gets to talk about them and whatnot. And it's free advertising. They're not paying for it because the companies want to get the lead story. They want to be ahead. They want to be in the loop, and they want to keep people's eyes on their stories, their articles. So they're going to talk about what Trump says, what he does, what he doesn't do. They're going to talk about all the Republican candidates, and Trump's going to talk about himself and the Republican candidates, and they're all going to demonize Democrats. They don't have to talk about just as Democrats. They did earlier this year, but they stopped because they learned. Someone with a brain simply said, you don't have to demonize the Democrats, the Justice Democrats. Just demonize the Democrats. Don't get specific. Don't demonize the justice ones, just the Democrats. Because if you do, everyone will group the justice ones in. See, that's why you have to stand out. You can't be just as Democrats. You have to be progressive. You need a party. And I think they should do that. It should be a multi-hit faction. That's what I think. But when it comes to the advertising, they got it. Democrats are not out there, as what Jenk said. They're not saying they're lying. They're full of shit. They're not doing that. The Democrats are quiet. They're silent. They run as they can with what little money they get. And it's up to people to take in that information. And when you got reporters out there, they're all owned by the Sinclair company, and whatnot. The great majority of the news stations are owned by the Sinclair company. Sinclair company is going to support Donald Trump. They already know that. They run the narrative. So if all they're going to do is cover Donald Trump, then and demonize Democrats, or in general, just say the left or the liberals, then that's all that's going to happen. And nobody's going to understand anything of any policy. That's what's going to happen. So when you have no Democrats fighting back, when you have no Justice Democrats getting the financial leeway they need, when you have the press that will only cover the Republicans to ensure, and it's not a mistake, it's not an accident. No, they purposefully do not cover Democrats, because if they don't cover Democrats, then nobody has to hear about them, and then they can just vote Republican. Now, what about the word of mouth? The Young Turks, they've got a whole lot of people. They got like over 3 million viewers, over 3 million. They've got over 10 billion views. They outdo in terms of views and whatnot the top major news companies combined. Fox, MSNBC, CNN, they outdo them. They dwarf them. But why didn't it work? And as I said earlier, it's this arrogance. When you say it's going to be a blue wave, it's going to be a tsunami, then what that does is it and you really keep advocating that. but not why it's going to be. You know, you just, oh, he's for the policies. He's for progressive policies. He's for our stuff. Okay, that's what happens. That's what you say. But then it's like, man, we're going to win. We're going to win. That tribalism set in. That's the first part of defeat. Tribalism set in, not necessity. Tribalism will always lose to necessity. All right. That's because when you have tribalism, you usually have too many camps. You got the camps of, it's going to be a blue wave. It's going to be a tsunami. Look, I ain't even got to do anything. We going to win, you know, because it's too obvious. It's too obvious. You know, we can't lose. Why would we lose? Everything that they're advocating just makes sense. So you do nothing. Complacency. And then you got the concept, nah, man, we've got to be bullhorns. We got to get out and shout. Okay. So when you're going to get out and shout? When you're done with your job? When are you going to get out and shout? When you're done watching your favorite TV programs? When you're going to get out and shout? You know, when you're done, you know, playing cards with your friends, or, you know, going to your little special dinners, or going camping, or going on vacation. When are you going to shout? That's the question. When? And then you end up not doing it. But then you got those that say, look, I am definitely going to go vote. And I'm going to vote. Okay, fine. That's cool. But then those are the ones that's not going to shout at anybody, because they're going to vote and going to do their civic duty and be done with it. So they don't have anything to offer anyone. And then you've got those that there's another camp where it's pretty much me in this camp, where I know who to vote for in terms of, it needs to be a progressive. I don't want a Democrat. I want a progressive. So I want to hear that. Where are the progressives? And I got something in the mail and whatnot. And I was like, well, I don't know exactly this organization. I looked them up online real quick, and I was like, huh. And I was like, there's a lot of black people up here, you know, and that's not the issue. It's what it represents that becomes the issue. Because see, I don't need to have all these people who are not progressive, but said progressive just because they're black. Oh, they're black, they get it. Look, we had Obama. Yeah. So that's less than enough. Now, I decided to look a few of the people up, but there was some on the ballot that I recognized from the last time we voted. And I was like, you know what? Present company, you know what? Cool. But I had to be sure. So when I was voting, I made sure that, look, it's going to say Democrat. It's going to be somebody on this. And there was parts where it had 2 Democrats. So I had to make sure it was one on the list that was cited as progressive. You know, that's what I just trusted in the list. And at first, I wanted to be more apprehensive. I did, but there was a lady that was handing out these flyers, and what she did was explain on the back in full, because it's worded nicely. I mean, you know, someone say, you know, it'll say something in, just making something off the crap top of my head here. You know, well, do you support the bill to renovate every home and to ensure that everyone is safe from asbestos? Well, asbestos. And you're like, well, yeah, sure. Okay. That's what it says on the ballot. But when you look up the full bill, the full document, matter of fact, these weren't even, they were amendments. Okay. And I think it's to the North Carolina State Constitution, or something, but it didn't say anything like that. It's, you know, it would say stuff like what it wants to do is allow sewage to be stored in a different place, and to remodel homes using lead paint because it's cheaper. But in order to use the lead paint, they have to get rid of the asbestos. So, you know, wow. So now they're going to make a whole lot of more money. They're going to poison us even further, and we're going to vote for that. So you have to know what you're really voting for. It's scary. And not just know, you got to be able to find someone, or hope somebody's trustworthy enough and honest enough to tell you what is really going on. It's scary and it's difficult. And I'm not going to say I did absolutely the right thing. I just did what I thought was the best thing, you know, turn down anything corporate or anything that was abusive, and vote as progressive as I could. You know, that's what I did. But when it comes to the media never fighting and never saying anything, yeah, I mean, think about it. How many advertisements did you see where Democratic party leaders were, advocating for somebody. You didn't see too much of that. And then you've got this other part that destroyed the campaigns, that really did it in. And there's victory at the end of this. I'm letting you know that. I know this was long, but I want to get a lot of this stuff off my chest. Look, what happened is you've got the civilian level. It's the worst kind. All right. It's not cool. I grew up in it, and I think a lot of you have grown up in it, and it's just, you're desensitized to it. So you probably don't even notice it. But the first thing I learned in life was that people, do not trust. They will not listen. They will not believe unless it caters to their fear or whatever tribe they've placed themselves within. That's what they will listen to. So if you're afraid of dying, are you afraid of the afterlife? If there is one, then you will listen and go to church. It's that simple. You will go to church, you will listen, and you will not question anything so long as they make you feel good. Make you feel, that's all they want. Just verbal, drugs. That's all it is. To crank the dopamine up, man. That's what's going on. And so what happens is when you have people, let's say someone, I've gone through this, matter of fact, but you've got people out there that will not listen. They just don't want to because it doesn't suit them. And that sucks because a lot of these Republicans got in and they were voted in by people that factually voted against their own best interest. Just think about, I'm going to do a quick one right here. And I might do a meme of it. I don't know. But when black people's getting, just hear this out, okay? Black people getting shot and killed by cops in the street. All right. So ultimately, Black Lives Matter show up. So to ruin Black Lives Matter, the racists came out with all lives matter. Not just you black people, not just you blacks. All lives matter. And then to rub salt in that wound, the cops, blue lives matter. It was to express, well, the racist was like, all lives matter. Didn't you know that? All lives. And I love how they always use the black background with the thick white lettering. That was always funny. All lives matter. And yeah, that was their way of saying, all white lives matter. I had to learn that the wrong way, just rabbit holes. But then the police going to sit there and say blue lives matter while they're mowing down other minorities and poor whites and blacks. And they're saying blue lives matter as if they are ever in danger. If one cop dies, then it's a manhunt. It's the most egregious thing that can happen. But if you can kill 1,200 unarmed minorities in a year, well, that's, hey, they get a promotion, right? That's all that happens. Now, after you get this going, what happens after that? Okay? What happens after that? You've got the blue lives matter. You got the all lives matter. And while they tout this, while they say this, then all of a sudden, somebody progressive comes up with, we need Medicaid for all. We need Medicare for all. We need health care for all. We need universal health care. We need health for everyone. Now, this is why I say people are stupid. Because, they sit here and say all lives matter. Then you say, okay, then all lives matter. Let's make sure that everyone can be healthy. And they say, nope, we're against that. Just think about that. We're against that. Like, you know what? The black people just want to live. They say Black Lives Matter. Well, you know what? All lives matter. Well, you know what? Blue lives matter. Well, how about we make sure that everyone stays healthy and can afford college? No, we don't want that. How stupid is that? How stupid is that? Think about this. Every Republican that ran was against Medicare for all. They were against universal health care. They were absolutely against it. And then if questioned, don't you think everyone should be healthy? They will say, well, yes, but I think we should do a plan where people can have access. And they use that because access seems so important. It seems so VIP. If you get access to the VIP lounge, you get to meet all the stars. So if you get access, it's programmed in all of us. The word access is programmed. So when they hear that, they think, you know what? Yeah, that's great. And that's what we should do. That's what they was going on. And that's what destroyed a lot of campaigns. The blue wave didn't happen because nobody believes. Because when you go to them people and you say, hey, this Justice Democrat here wants universal health care. They want a health care plan for everyone so everyone can afford it. They'll say, I don't believe you. You know, because that Justice Democrat, I don't know about them. You know, I think they're on the take. I think something's wrong with them. You know, I ain't hear nothing good about the Justice Democrat organization and stuff. I'm going to go with the one that's incumbent here. You know, I'm going to vote for that person. You know, I mean, you know, they want, how you going to get Medicare for all? That's the first thing they want to doubt. I learned that so quick that people have got to doubt somebody that says anything different than what they already believe. So while you're saying, you know, Medicare for all, they're like, how are they going to pay for it? How are they going to pay for it? What, with my money? And you look at them and say they're buying drugs and private planes and paying off billionaires with your money. Why can't they give you medical assistance with your money? And it's all you just saying some old crazy stuff. You know, that's what happens. And at first when I was going to do this video, this audio, I was going to just make it, you know, like it's only black people. You know, that's what I was going to say because that was my experience. That's been my experience, but it's all people. Everybody has to doubt everybody. And it's worse when it comes to race because I know I grew up around black people saying, I don't trust anything a white person got to tell me. And I've heard enough white people look at me. I'm literally look at my face and say, I'm not going to trust you. You black. And I heard around the corner, it's like, I mean, he said some great things, but do you really want to listen to a black guy? It's like, man, yeah, you're right about that. It's like, what the fuck am I hearing? And I'm like, so I'm thinking, and I was in 7th grade and I was like, so this guy could have came to you and said, I've got the cure to the common cold. And it's been proven, it's been tested in 4 countries already, and no one has gotten the cold since. We've injected them with it, with new strains, and it just doesn't happen. They don't get sick. And you say, well, that's great, but you black. So what you gonna do about that? It's like, well, what does my skin color have to do with anything? Well, you black, it rubs off. It's wrong. It's like, what the fuck? So it's just how people are. It's fucked up. Racism is just absolute stupidity. Because if you remove the color and gave them something else, if every black person that wanted to, it's not just color, it's also classism. You know, every black person that was killed, every white person that was killed, you could swap their colors. And the truth is, all those black people that would have then been white people, the numbers of death would have been a lot lower. It wouldn't have been 1,200 in 2017. It would have been maybe like 20 tops, 20, you know. And if you put all those white people that got killed by these cops, if you made them black, they'd still be dead, except they wouldn't talk about the family they had. They would definitely talk about, you know, they would talk about how they were drugged up. There was marijuana, or someone thought they had some marijuana with them. They charged the cop, although they were falling backwards at the time. I mean, it's a lot of stuff. It's just what happens because we're racist. It's a racist country. You know, no. Let me change that. We're not a racist country. We're a racist company because everything is ran like a business. Even racism is a bank because they can count on the racism to make sure that people that would actually do good for the country can't run the country. And you know who actually should be running the country? Every single voter out there. But like I said last time, people are sheep and sheep have to be led. That's what the government is, the sheep herder. I mean, that's just how that go. And it could change, but nobody wants change. They just want things to stay the same, but their lives improved. And you can't improve anybody's life until you change things. So it's a paradox of stupidity. I don't know. I don't have too much else to say. I really don't. It's long. It's 20 minutes. I'm just going to get out of here. Okay. So if you got questions, put them down there in the comment section, please. And any videos that you come across of mine that you like, please share it. Share it. I would like to get my voice out there. When I listen to people, I like their videos. It goes to my Twitter and it goes to my Facebook. So please, set your accounts up to do that. Have it shared to other places. And if you want, just, click on the share button and put it on wherever your social media is, or send it in emails to people something. It's just asking a little bit from you. So look, this is Cedric, candidate for comparative reasoning. Thank you for listening.